I'm so glad you're here listening to the Sustain Your Passion podcast. I'm Genesis, your host and business development expert. If you're ready to make a bigger impact and income while helping others, then you're in the right place. Thanks for joining me, and I can't wait to help you sustain your passion. Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about how to build your dream community online. Now, this is really important if you are in the business of making sales, right? We all started businesses because we have a passion, we have an idea of something we want to create. We probably have a vision for creating that, and I bet it's not just you alone doing your own thing, right? There's probably a community around you. You're probably helping a lot of people. You're probably feeling really purposeful and knowing that you're serving other people. But here's the thing that gets in the way from actually finding that community on social media: the fear of being rejected for who you truly are. The fear of being worthy, of being enough, of being seen, of being known, of being laughed at. So today I want to talk to you about how I've developed a community of over 2,000, almost 2,500 Instagram followers. And on Facebook, I think I've got a few thousand connections there. My email list keeps growing every month. I'm now working on growing an Instagram or a TikTok. And I believe that the reason why I'm seeing continual growth in my community online is because of one skill I've developed. And that's the confidence to be my authentic self and not be afraid to be known. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about how I got here and how you can also get here. And I also want to just give a big disclaimer. I still have days where I don't want to feel seen. I still have topics that I don't talk about. Nothing about being authentic and vulnerable to find your community online requires you to not have boundaries that keep you safe. So that is where we're going to start. The most important thing that I know is that I don't have to share everything, but I also know that I do have to share how my story relates to my ideal client story. Because as a coach, I believe it's really important that we go first. We are mentors, we are guides, we are healers of all sorts of pain and questions, and we give guidance for people to reach their biggest goals. And if we can't relate to them, it comes out really hollow. If we're trying to coach someone on something we've never been through, we will run out of stories. We will struggle to relate to them, and they will feel that. We will not be showing up authentically. We will be trying to create what we think they need, not based on what we know you needed or I needed when I was in their shoes. And it will come off less authentic, and people will feel that. And so ultimately, to be able to get to a place where you are confident to authentically share online, which is the key to building a community that wants to buy from you and work with you as a coach, you have to start by knowing who you are and loving yourself exactly as you are. And again, I struggle with these areas. I still have really bad body image days. There are times where I just critique the heck out of my voice, even when recording this podcast. Already I've had thoughts about, does my voice sound a little bit too nasally today? Is all of my mouth sounds gonna bug someone? I'm recording this too, so video, so I can use some of the footage for TikToks. I'm thinking do I look okay? I have those thoughts still, but I navigate them differently than I did when I was a brand new coach putting out content to connect with my ideal clients and build a community online. Nowadays, I think about that if someone's going to critique the way I look or sound or whatever, they're not my ideal client because I've made the decision that for myself and my ideal clients, we don't want to be petty. We don't want to have body image blocks. We don't want to be mean girls, even if our inner critic that has been shaped by our society our entire lives is still present and is still a natural reactive thought that's just a pattern that's been there because it's been developed over time. It's not the real us. And we want to become more aware of those problems that say you're a problem and you're not worthy and you're not good enough. We want to actively challenge those thoughts. So if someone is going to be cruel enough to have a mean thought about me, critiquing the way I sound or look or whatever, right? And then have the gall to actually tell me that mean thought. Like, I've gotten some nasty comments on my content before. I've never actually gotten someone like personally messaging me to be mean, but I'm sure that's coming. Like, as I open myself up to being more visible and allowing more people to see me and know me, I can pretty much guarantee trolls will sneak in. That's okay. Because I know that even if their words sting for a moment, I know how to get out of that thought loop. I know how to release that chokehold that those words have on me by saying, this is not my ideal client. And there's this Dr. Seuss quote that I always think of. It's be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. So the important part there is be who you are, say what you feel, right? So be authentic, be yourself, because those who matter don't mind. So again, I love my ideal client who is a past version of myself. So I love myself and my clients so damn much that they matter so much to me, and I know that they don't mind. They don't mind the mouth sounds in my podcast. They don't mind the goofy way I explain things, or if I talk, in circles or repeat myself. They don't mind if I have a little bit of sleep on my eye, or like a little crusty or something, or if I say the wrong word or make a mistake or have a typo in my post. Like, they don't mind me being my authentic self. And then the last part, and those who mind don't matter, right? So I know who matters and they don't mind. And anyone who does mind, right? So anybody who does critique me, who doesn't like me, who's gonna be a shitty person and be cruel, I don't care. Those who mind don't matter. They don't matter to me. And I know this took me such a long time to integrate into my worldview, because I had such a strong core belief that I need to help everyone. I can help everyone. The stuff I know is so important to teach to anyone. And ultimately, I had to realize that that is just not true. And there was a bit of grief I had to work through with that, because I think I was raised with beliefs that you can do anything, right? And you can change the world. And I love that about me, that does feel true. I do have a driving force that says I can make a big difference. But I also know that I can't heal all the world's problems. I personally can't help every person. And one of the things I learned through my many years of education, I don't know exactly where it came from, but it was this idea that you can only help people that want to be helped. And if someone's if they're in such a dark place that they're going to comment something rude on my social media because I showed up as my authentic self for my ideal client, because I love them and they matter to me and I want to connect with them and show them what's possible for them and support them through showing up authentically, if someone's going to come on my social media stuff and be a dick, I cannot help that person. So I'm not actually here to serve and help them. And they're showing me that. I'm not even the one saying, hey, random user, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. I'm not going to them and being like, I don't like you. I don't want to help you. I can't help you, you silly troll. Like, I'm not actively pushing them away, right? I'm not actively creating hate content against people like them. But in my commitment to serve my ideal client, they are getting their buttons pushed. They are getting triggered. They are having experiences, and that is not my responsibility. Being myself, showing up and letting myself be seen, being authentic in a space that allows me to build a community of people that I can serve is a perfectly fine commitment to make in my career. And if someone else is going to come and judge me, they aren't my ideal client. So I literally don't mind. Now, if someone that I had worked with for months and months and deeply knew, or a close friend was coming onto my posts and was being cruel, I'd probably handle that differently. I probably would get hooked into minding. I probably would feel bad because I thought maybe I was doing good in their world, but they're letting me know that they actually are bitter and angry and disapprove. But instead of going to a place of, oh no, that means I'm problematic, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of their affection or support or care or whatever I was looking for, and making it mean that I shouldn't show up as authentically as myself or vulnerably or bravely in my social media to connect with my ideal clients and build community that matters to me, I'd probably reach out to that person and be like, hey, are you okay? Because I'm not going to make that mean anything about me or my content. I'm going to leave that squarely on their side of the street and know that that's all about them. And whether it was me, the one delivering the message that pissed them off, or my competition, right? Or my direct competitor or colleagues, rather, because I like to think about community over competition, but people doing the exact same work as me, saying the exact same thing as me, that person would have been upset by it, regardless of if the idea or lesson came out of my mouth or theirs. So again, it's not about me. It's about them. And whatever's going on in their life that is honestly none of my business and not my problem. But if I care about the person, as a loving gesture, I'm going to reach out and be like, hey, are you okay? Because what I know about people that throw daggers at other people is that it's actually coming from a dagger that they feel in themselves that they're trying to pull out and shove into someone else in hopes that it makes them feel better. And that makes me worry about that person. I don't go directly to anger. I go to sadness and concern. If someone that I love and value and care and feel concerned for, that I know that I have a relationship with, is saying hateful things to me, I'm not gonna let that mean that I need to change. I'm gonna reach out to them and be genuinely like, what's going on? This doesn't make sense because we were friends, and what changed? Or what's going on for you? I would genuinely care about them. So those are the two groups that I could think of that might be the people that are putting those voices in my head actively, that I might be afraid of putting real content out in fear that they would say mean things to me, right? Like strangers, trolls who I do not give any fucks about because they are so not my ideal client. They are not who I'm thinking of when I'm creating. It's like if somebody who was allergic to shellfish walked into a restaurant that only sold shellfish and was like, this restaurant is bad. Yeah, all the people at that restaurant dining and cooking are going to be like, no, you're bad for being here. Like, what are you doing in this restaurant? Right? So the people that are not the ideal clients, they can have whatever opinion they want. They should not be hanging out on your posts, right? So if they come on and they're mean to you and that makes you fear being authentic and real in your social media, like put up that wall and let them know this is not a space for you. And that's okay. Go find your own elsewhere. This is my corner of the internet and that's not welcome. Boundary, right? And then the people that you thought were in your circle that then turn on you, right? That still is nothing to do with you. That is about them. As long as you are showing up in your truth, you know that you put out your content in good faith, that you were trying to serve your ideal client and build community and be generous with your knowledge, that person must be having a bad day. Don't make it mean anything else about you. Because I know how easy it is to see or to think you're going to get mean comments. Right? So let's go there now. Those are the two groups that might actually give you a fact, like an actual comment to read or a message to read that is cruel. But now let's go inward. So if you're trying to create authentic content to connect with your ideal community so that you can serve them through your coaching, and you really are speaking to your ideal client regularly, you're putting out good stuff, you're being vulnerable, you're sharing, but you're keeping your boundaries up and you're feeling good. But then the inner critic in you starts creeping up. And so maybe nobody else actually commented. No, maybe you didn't get enough likes because you thought you should have got more. Maybe you expected more feedback because you thought your post was so good. You expected people to be like, oh my gosh, this just changed my world. You're amazing. Thank you. Like maybe you had high expectations for what people would say back and that didn't show up. Or you're looking back at content you made 2 years ago and you're like, I have grown since then. Or gosh, why did I post that? And it's you that's bullying yourself. It's you that's being cruel to your best self that was doing something good for the world by putting out a relatable, authentic story, and now you're critiquing it either because it wasn't as successful as you wanted it to be or expected it to be, or it didn't look as successful as you expected because of certain metrics, like vanity metrics you decided mattered, or you're looking back at old content and critiquing it because you've grown and changed, so you're the problem. That one's real hard because sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it until it's too late and you feel so shitty about yourself that then it stops you from continuing to show up, or it feels so true that you don't know how to separate yourself from the mean thoughts and catch yourself. So a couple strategies here. If you're the one keeping yourself from showing up authentically, because that's what happens when you start critiquing yourself like that, is then you decide, well, I'm just going to hide. I'm just going to not put myself out there. I'm not going to take the risk. Because obviously, if I'm thinking this about myself, other people will too. And I can't handle that, right? So if you're in that place, I want you to think about why you desire to post on social media at all. And I want you to think about who you're comparing yourself to when you decide what the responses to your posts should be. So if you're thinking about Kim Kardashian or whoever has a huge following that you think of, oh, I should have millions of followers because they have it, and gosh, I'm comparing myself to them, and what do they have that I don't? I'm making a more impactful statement than their bikini pics, like what the heck? Or whatever story you're telling yourself in comparison. I want you to, again, consider, what was your purpose for sharing? Was it to get likes? Was it to get more follows? Or was it to make a difference in the lives of your ideal client? And if you are trying to be a coach, right? If that is your goal, you're becoming a coach. The purpose of coaching, the value of coaching, the work of a coach is to help others reach their goals. And that requires a level of humility and selflessness and ability to hold space for others. So your intention behind what you post and why and what you expect it to do, it needs to be focused on helping your ideal client with the type of growth that you hold space for in your coaching programs. So if you aren't operating from that place when you go to post on social media in hopes of creating community and helping your clients, and you're focusing on, I'm going to share this because I think I'll get a lot of likes, I'm concerned. I am worried about your motives. I think you need to go back to why you got started in your business in the first place. Because if that's your goal, you could be an influencer. You could be a content creator exclusively. You could work on brand deals, and there's no problem with that. But that's not the work of a coach. The work of a coach is to share something that changes perspectives, that changes the way your ideal client thinks and feels and acts in their life. And while, yeah, it'd be cool if you could hear back from them like, wow, this is really helpful. That'd be cool. But that's a fringe benefit. That's a added on sprinkle to your Sunday. That's a bonus. That's a cherry on top. So if you are getting caught in the vanity metrics of likes and comments and shares and whatever, I just want you to think about, what would you have thought or felt or done differently when you were in your ideal client's shoes if you had had someone just like you giving you that message then? If it would have helped you, if what you're sharing could help your ideal client, you gotta lean into that as your biggest success metric. You have to know that showing up authentically and sharing your story is the number one predictor of success as a coach online. Because your purpose as a coach is to change lives. It's not to get likes on your freaking posts. And that matters so much more. And if you are listening to this and you're like, gosh, she's crazy for loving her clients this much, like she really thinks that she is just so important, or whatever mean thoughts you're coming up with, because it's really how you feel about yourself, stop it. You're allowed to care. You're allowed to have deep feelings. You are allowed to want to make a difference in this world. You are allowed to care. It's a beautiful thing. It's needed. There are so many jaded people in this world, and we need coaches that give a shit to learn how to put up healthy boundaries so they can lead and shine and not be afraid to be seen. We need thought leaders. We need people that care. And coaching is a great way for you to express the type of difference that you want to create in the world, and then invite people to actually do the transformative work with you to create that difference in their life through your programs. And you're not going to find those ideal clients if you can't show up authentically in your social media space. So I hope that this podcast is encouraging you to think a little differently about what social media can be in your coaching business, how to use it to connect with your ideal client, how to use it to be vulnerable and lead and be authentic without being mean to yourself, without worrying about people that don't get it or that mind the way that you show up, and to give you some more freedom to be your authentic self and to remind you that you and your voice and your compassion is needed in this world. All right, that's all I've got for you for this episode right now. But if this spoke to you, if you're struggling to clarify, well, what is my purpose? What is my mission? What is it that I'm trying to do with my coaching business? Reach out to me on social media. I can help. I promise. That's my specialty. So I just hope this was helpful, and be back next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Sustain Your Passion podcast. If this episode helped you gain a bit more clarity, courage, or confidence, please share it with your friends on social media or in a text. It would mean the world to me. Thanks in advance for sharing this episode. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.